There's a hole in the dashboard, dear Tuffy. Then fix it, dear Tuffy.
Yeah, holes, hey? The world can't exist without holes. Think about it. Everything is held together by things going through holes. And for that matter, our very existence depends on things going into holes. But sometimes we are not satisfied with the state of affairs, and some holes don't matter anymore. And then we want to close them up so we can make new holes in different locations. And that is exactly the case here on the 39 Hudson's dashboard today. I want to weld up all these holes. So let's explore the best ways to weld up holes of any size in sheet metal. Let's see, this one right here measures 21.5 millimeters, a little bit more than 3/4 of an inch. Definitely too big to just weld up. So we need a small little metal disc that can go in there. So how to make a small metal disc of a specific diameter with basic tools. I think I've dreamt up a cool way. Now I'm pretty sure someone out there is using this technique. Like they say, nothing is new, but let me show you. I got myself a piece of metal from the offcut box. Yeah, I find it very difficult to throw even the smallest piece away. And now I'm going to use my circle template to mark a hole, or a disc rather. These things are very handy to have in the shop. Definitely worthwhile having one. And now I'm going to very roughly mark out the size of the disc that I want. You don't have to be accurate with this at all, like so. Then go dig out some common old nails. 4-inch or 6-inch works well. Imagine yourself as a headsman during the French Revolution and decapitate the nail. Next we're going to tack our nail onto the sheet metal like this, approximately in the center of my circle that I drew. Accuracy is not important at all, like so. And then we're going to cut it out very roughly. Accuracy really doesn't matter, just cut it bigger than the marked circle. And it's probably better to stick it into a vise to cut those last corners. Just a rough 8-sided shape like this is perfectly adequate. The safe next step is to clamp your drill in a bench vise. Don't tighten it too much or you risk crushing the case of your Chinesium drill. And then we can chuck our piece in the chuck like this and tighten it up. See, you know where this is going. A flap disc in the baby grinder. And let's operate our poor man's lathe. Look at this. The chuck on my Chinesium drill is all worn out. And the other thing is I'm getting quite a bit of flex. So I think a thicker nail would be better, or maybe just make it a bit shorter. Yeah, let's just cut it a bit shorter quickly. Yep, shorter will be better in this case. Still got the slop in my chuck here. Yeah, there's a reason why these Inco drilling machines are so cheap. I don't think this one is much older than about 1.5 years. Let's give it another go. Ah yes, that's much better. Less wobbly now. It goes quite quickly, eh? So check often until you get to the diameter that you want. That looks spot on to me. Looks like a little valve. I would need 15 more of these if I want to build the baby V8. Let's go see how it fits. Let's see. It's going to work well, man. I got a little handle for holding it. And I'm sure you know what I'm going to be doing next. We're going to tack it, and then we can cut the nail off, weld it up and grind it. Yeah, cool idea. I'm happy with that. If you have access from the back side, you can stick it in from the back, and then you can use a little magnet to line it up for welding. Now in my case, I don't have access on this side to cutting the nail off. So that plan's not going to work for me. So I'm thinking if I stick it in here like this, have the magnet lining it up for me there. Something like this. Yeah, that could work. Little light tuck there. And then I can take the magnet off and do what I have to do. Yeah, like so. The nail has done its job. I can cut that off and finish this. Now here's something I like to do, and that is to have my earth clamp as close as possible to the area where I'm welding. Just makes for better welding. Like so, it's gone. Now do you really want to see all the welding and grinding and sanding and all of that boring stuff? I mean, when I watch other channels and I see long periods of that, I get extremely bored and I move on in the video. But let me know in the comments if you want to see the welding and the grinding, and then I'll do something about it. This is the OG technique, only recommended for people who can accept responsibility for their own actions and choices, like the possibility of your t-shirt ending up wrapped around a machine. Repeat it the same move 3 more times. The big ones are taken care of, but now when I remove this little cover plate, I've got these smaller ones and this rectangular one that I'd like to weld up, and another small one down there. One thing I would like to say about this kind of thing, just take a bit of trouble and time to clean off the old rust and paint. I see so many guys welding stuff without removing the rust, and I don't understand why. So this one is actually easy peasy. I've got a little piece that will fit in there. You just got to measure carefully. I'm going to use my trusty little magnet to line it up, and then we can do the whole welding, grinding, sanding thing again. First, just some light tacks to line it up with the surrounding metal and make sure it's nice and flush, and then dab dab dab, weld it. But you guys know the story. Here's the dab 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 business. Just in case you don't know, it becomes boring to watch, so let's rather tell the director to cut the shot. And here I'm bragging with my new toy, a pneumatic high-speed sander. Use this with the right sanding disc, like this ActiRox disc from Ferd, and it cuts a whole lot better than a flat disc. From dab 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 to tap tap tap. Each shrinkage from the welding always causes some distortion, so planishing with a hammer and dolly stretches the welds again and straightens out the panel. These 2 remaining holes, they are 10 millimeters. Yeah, that's about 3/8 of an inch. For them, I'm going to use a very interesting different technique. Back to those 6-inch nails, check this. The head of this thing is about 12 millimeters. I'm sure you know where we're going with this. Yeah, cut the piece off, stick it in a poor man's lathe, grind it to the size you want, and check here the thickness of this part here. It's about a little bit more than 2 millimeters. It's more than the thickness of my sheet metal. That's perfect. Let's see. That's a nice fit, Tiffy. So we can now unify this 6-inch nail with the Hudson cap and cut off the part we don't want. The credit for this cool tip goes to one of our OG viewers who left a comment in a previous video. Unfortunately, you didn't give your name, but thanks, my brother. We're never too old to learn. So let me cut off these nails, grind it all up, and we can see how it turns out. Yes, lekker man. This nail trick works a treat. Now let's see, this hole right here is only 6 millimeters, quarter of an inch. No need for an insert, we can just weld it. But just back it from the other side to make your life so much easier. So the common thing is to use a piece of copper, which I haven't got, so I use aluminium. I'll put that from the back, I'll show you just now. It works just as well. Brass will work. Yeah, any non-ferrous metal, except I suppose magnesium and cadmium. You run into problems with those ones. So let's stick to copper, aluminium or brass. Just to demonstrate what I do, the backside is typically difficult to access, so I stick on my piece of aluminium, and then I just use magnets to keep it in place. And now I can easily weld it from this side and take it off afterwards. Excuse the state of my high-tech magnets here. They are just broken pieces from an old speaker, but they work well. The whole idea with the backing piece is that your weld paddle won't fall through the hole when you weld it up. And because that backing piece is non-ferrous, the welding won't stick to it. I've crawled into the dark, rusty corners of this cab. My backing piece is being held on by magnets. There, if you look carefully, you can see the backing there through the hole. Now I really wish I had a fancy filter that I could show my welding from up close. But I don't have such a thing. So let me just get this done quickly. Yes, now I can just grind it flush. Fantastic, the hole is no more. Another one down there, and something I forgot to mention. Always a good idea to just use a drill bit and clean out the hole to get rid of the rust so that it doesn't contaminate your welding. Like this. Yes. Sometimes you can't get to the inside for that backing piece trick. Then you can use the nail trick. In this case, a 3-inch nail will do the job just fine, and I can weld that in place. Yep, that'll do it. Cut it off and grind it flush. Holes? What holes? I don't know what he's talking about. Now here is another one of those small little time-consuming modifications that no one ever talks about. This here is the original vacuum-activated wiper mechanism, and I really would like to keep that. But now if I don't want to use a rubber, there's very little space here. So this is about the thickness of the glass that I want sitting like this. I just want to glue it in. And then there's no space here for my glass to sit behind this mechanism. So what I would need to do is to cut this opening a little bit bigger so that it can move a little bit this way. A little bit more than 6 millimeters, quarter of an inch. That's the thickness of my glass. Okay, maybe now. Been trying it for quite a while now. Let's see. Ah yes, now I've got clearance for my glass. That's good. So moving this has created that opening there. So this is not going to be a case of closing the hole, but rather of changing the size of the hole. I've cut myself this little bit of plate that must go in there. You can hold that in place with a magnet. Just line it up nicely, and I'm sure you know what I'm going to be doing next. Yes, exactly that, to be followed by the normal weld blending. Let's see. In you go. Yes, problem solved. I like it. So what's the deal with this oblong hole here then? Well, I cut it there because I made this sculpted piece to fit like that. The plan is to stick these pressure gauges in here for monitoring and adjusting the airbag suspension system. So what I would like to do is to have a gauge for each bag. So 2 of them for the 2 front bags, 2 of them for the 2 rear bags, and then the last one to complete the picture here. This one will be to monitor the pressure of the air tank itself. Yes, I like it. Looks like it belongs in an aeroplane or something. So we have thrust levers down here. Up there we've got lots of monitoring gauges. So now it's going to be the low-flying Hudson V8 jet plane, man. Interesting side note, this opening and that opening, they are both exactly the same size, completely symmetrical. Now this Hudson is a right-hand drive, that's how it came from the factory. This side we had the glove box, and that side we had the speedometer. But these parts are completely interchangeable. So now it makes me wonder, did they build it like that with the intention of producing left-hand drive and right-hand drive models? Interesting, no? Have a look here. This is the original Hudson glove box lid. That side is for the speedo. But look at this insert. So in my model, which is right-hand drive, it sits here. But to turn the car into a left-hand drive, you just have to take this insert out, stick it in there, and then you can have your speedo on this side. That's freaking amazing, I think. Oh, that cutout is not original. That was my modification to allow for the steering column. Enough of my fascination with Hudson engineering. Let's stick to the topic at hand. I think we've covered some interesting methods for welding up holes of any size in sheet metal. If you do know of some other interesting techniques, let me know in the comments. Always read them. Always happy to learn from other guys. I mean, that's how we brothers help each other out, right? Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you next week. Have a lucky one.
Whatever makes you happy, it just depends on you. So think of